Which brand has a swoosh logo? Nike. Which car brand has a silver star in a circle? Mercedes. Which brand is famous for the 3 stripes? Adidas. Which soda brand is red and white? Coca-Cola. Which tech company has an apple logo? Apple. Which luxury brand uses LV letters? Louis Vuitton. Which sports car brand has a horse logo? Ferrari. Which fast food chain has golden arches? McDonald's. Which brand has a swooping bird logo? Twitter. Which soft drink has a green bottle with a star? Heineken. Which brand has a crocodile logo on its clothing? Lacoste. Which car brand has 4 rings in its logo? Audi. Which brand uses a bitten chocolate bar in ads? Kit Kat. Which sports brand has a jumping cat logo? Puma. Which fashion brand uses a Medusa head logo? Versace. Which car brand has a bull in its logo? Lamborghini. Which company uses a blue bird with a white background? Twitter. Which brand has a red triangle logo? Guess. Which sports brand uses UA initials? Under Armour. Which brand has a crown above its name? Rolex. Which brand uses a bitten apple logo on devices? Apple. Which car brand logo features a trident? Maserati? Which fashion brand has interlocking GG? Gucci. Which brand uses a shell as its logo? Shell. Which sports brand has a checkmark logo? Nike. Which luxury car brand has a Spirit of Ecstasy emblem? Polo Ralph Lauren. Which brand uses a knight chess piece logo? Polo Ralph Lauren. Which car brand logo shows a winged arrow? Skoda. Which brand uses a bee in its branding? Gucci. Which sports brand has a shark logo line? Gymshark.
Which brand uses a lion holding a sword logo? Peugeot. Which fashion brand uses a knight on horseback? Burberry. Which car brand logo has a griffin symbol? Vauxhall. Which brand uses a mountain peak logo? Patagonia. Which brand has a compass star logo? Stone Island. Which brand uses a smiling arrow from A to Z? Amazon. Which car brand has a shield with red and black stripes? Porsche. Which fashion brand uses a snake in its design? Bulgari. Which brand uses a twin-tailed mermaid logo? Starbucks. Which sports brand uses a stylized NB logo? New Balance. Which brand uses a broken circle logo? BP. Which car brand logo features a stylized T-shield? Tesla. Which fashion brand uses a Gothic YSL logo? YSL. Which brand uses a bitten chocolate square logo? Toblerone. Which car brand has a winged bee logo? Bentley. Which brand uses a Torch of Knowledge logo? Columbia. Which brand uses a red umbrella logo? Travelers. Which sports brand uses a double diamond logo? Umbro. Which brand uses a moose logo on clothing? Abercrombie. Which car brand uses a flying spur emblem? Bentley. Which brand uses a head and arrow in its logo? FedEx. Which car brand has a prancing moose logo? Saab. Which fashion brand uses a shark patch logo? Paul & Shark. Which brand hides a bear in its mountain logo? Toblerone. Which car brand uses crossed flags in its logo? Corvette. Which brand uses a green siren face logo? Starbucks. Which sports brand uses a spiral C logo? Champion. Which luxury brand uses a panther symbol? Cartier. Which car brand uses a scorpion badge? Abarth. Which brand uses a red Levi's tab logo? Levi's.